Welcome, happy Monday, happy first full day of fall. And of course, even though it's officially the fall season, Mother Nature is telling us to hold her beer because, it's like summer outside. But it's been a nice day across the region and changes are on the way. Right now we're holding at 92 degrees, partly cloudy skies. This is your look over Doak Campbell Stadium and you can see some clouds. But it really is just a gorgeous day to be outside, even with a light breeze kind of blowing in, making it just a little bit more comfortable. Rest of the region seeing some warm temperatures as well. In fact, look at Perry, holding on to 94 degrees, 91 over in Live Oak. And as you head down toward the coast, it's actually a little bit cooler with the influence of the water, though. Again, right now, Apalachicola not reporting any temperature, but they do have one, I promise you it's true. Dew point temperatures, you guys know this. The closer the dew point is to the air temperature, the higher the humidity. And at this point, we're kind of looking at some low humidities, low for us for this time of year. But generally speaking, it looks like the lowest values, the mid-60s or 2 hour east. Looking at a couple of the low 70s around Thomasville and Valdosta. Tallahassee right now, dew point temperature at 68. So that big difference is telling us that the air outside is in fact relatively dry. Tonight, in fact, because of the dry air, we're going to fall pretty quickly down to about 72 degrees and only a few clouds outside. So looks pretty nice. If you want to be outside, it looks like a really nice day to do that. But again, changes are on the way. So it's officially our first Monday show of the year. Yay, Sloan. She's our team leader on Mondays. We're monitoring the tropics, and we're doing that rather carefully, and I don't want to give it all away, but we're doing it because it really does look like as we head toward Thursday, we'll be looking at the influence of a storm, which will be identified as Helene. We'll talk more about that. And of course, as the hurricane is coming, and that's what we think it's going to be, we'll talk about safety and safety measures for you. All of that, so much more, coming up on your Monday show. Well, once again, we're looking at Doak Campbell Stadium, and you can see just how picture perfect it is. And again, it's a great Monday. Why is it so great, you're asking? FSU Seminoles won their first football game of the season. Yay! So as a result, we're hanging on to some really nice weather. 92 degrees, partly cloudy skies, great day to be outside, great night to be outside. In fact, all temperatures across the region are generally in the 90s. So still, even though we're officially in the fall season, not seeing the break from the summer-like weather. In fact, we still have warmer than average temperatures. We should be right around 88 degrees, but we're still in the 90s. And at this point, without a little bit of rain, it does make it a little bit more comfortable outside. And you can see there's nothing going on in terms of the radar. You can see it across the region. Could be a couple of light sprinkles well to our north, but nothing doing for us. So leave the umbrella at home, at least for now. In fact, again, those dew point temperatures indicating just how humid the air is, but they're relatively low. So as a result, we do have some dry air in place with the lowest values, really the lowest humidities then would be to our east in parts of Perry, and also around the Live Oak area in Suwannee County. In Tallahassee, again, we've got about 68 degrees and some low 70s sitting to our north across southern parts of South Georgia. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Again, not looking for a whole lot in the way of activity or change going on. So a few clouds may kind of move their way in, but temperatures are going to drop down into the low 70s as we head to the morning hours. Winds are relatively calm. So with that, the temperatures actually do fall pretty quickly, and across the rest of the region, warmest numbers are going to be down toward the coast. You'll see some mid and even some upper 70s. Look at St. Mark's hanging on to 77, 77 also for Carabel. So there's that water influence where, of course, as warm as it's been, it's going to keep things a little bit warmer than the inland spots where most of us will be seeing low 70s as we head through the morning hours. Now, tomorrow, rinse and repeat. If you like today, you'll like tomorrow. It looks like the same thing. In fact, we'll see a lot of sunshine going on. Temperatures are going to warm up again into the low 90s. So one more time, we're going to be running a little bit above average. A little bit of a wind, though. It'll be kicking in from the southeast. And a little bit of wind does help when temperatures are this warm, and you can see the rest of the region. Notice once again, they're pretty uniform. Got those low 90s working their way into southern areas of Georgia. Again, for us in North Florida, the exception, of course, at the coast. You got the water influence, so temperatures there are only going to warm into the upper 80s. So if you've got the day off, you know, it's a nice day to be outside and enjoying that kind of pattern. Now, as we head into the next day or so, this is really, it's a forecast model showing us where we expect some clouds and perhaps some showers, but you don't see a whole lot. In fact, you may see some clouds kind of poking in from the south, so it's really more of a sea breeze as the air comes in off the Gulf of Mexico, a little bit of water vapor in the air, so it helps to develop a few clouds, but you'll also notice just how limited the green is. Of course, the green indicating where we may have some of those showers. So not a whole lot in the way of rain, not a whole lot in the way of clouds. Again, Tuesday actually looks pretty good. The changes, of course, will come as we head through the rest of the forecast. So here's the next 7 days, and as you look ahead, there's Tuesday looking good. Wednesday, we start to see the rain chances increase, and the reason for that is it's the precursor to what, again, we believe is going to be Helene. Of course, a little bit of an influence on Wednesday, but right now we're thinking the timing of it should be on Thursday. And of course, as the clouds and the storm rolls in, that'll take the temperatures down some. It should be moving pretty quickly, however, and the rain chance will start to decrease a bit as we head toward Friday. The good news would be that as we head toward the weekend, right now, looks like the rain chances are really going to drop, and temperatures as well. In fact, you'll see that the highs will only warm into the mid and upper 80s. So some changes on the way for us, and in fact, that's what, I thought I had it. I'm new at this. That's what we had. Really, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just trying to help out today. So some cameras across Florida. Where should we start? Let's go to Orlando. Why not? Weather looks terrific. In fact, the temperature is 79 degrees, which is extraordinary considering it does look pretty nice outside. So maybe that might be a little bit off. Temperatures, though, low 90s in Jacksonville. And, of course, you know, those folks that are from that area kind of know just how warm and sometimes humid it can be, especially as the air's coming in off the Atlantic. In Tampa, 93 degrees. Looks to be the hot spot across these 4 locations. Pensacola is still warm as well. In fact, they're looking at 90 degrees for the temperature at this point, but still a lot of sunshine across the region. And in fact, if you look at the rest of the state of Florida, you'll see temperatures representing a lot of sunshine. So we're really warming things up. Again, I'm going to challenge that temperature of 79 in Orlando. We've got 90 degrees in Pensacola, 92 in Tallahassee, and down in the Keys, upper 80s, 89 for Key West, and even Miami, 89 degrees. So looks pretty comfortable down there. And again, this is all relative. You guys know if it's 89, it's a little bit better than 90 degrees, though it may not feel that way, especially if the dew point temperatures are kind of closing in on that air temperature, and it may make it feel a little bit warmer than average. Pensacola's got a dew point of 65 degrees, so that bigger difference is going to give them a much lower humidity. Tampa at 72, you got mid-70s for West Palm, Miami, and even down toward the Keys. Here's that forecast, and it looks like those numbers will stay about the same as we head toward Tuesday, so not seeing a whole lot of change. And what that means is it's a holding pattern. The big changes will really start to take shape, I think, as we approach Wednesday. So in the forecast for your satellite, clouds, and radar, again, we're not going to see a whole lot. We're not expecting a whole lot, not much in the way of clouds, certainly not much in the way of rain, and as it goes into motion, you're not really seeing anything on your screen, kind of representing what our thinking is at this point. Heading to Pensacola for the next 3 days, well, the outlook looks good. In fact, temperatures, at least for Tuesday, 87 degrees. But again, depending on where this tropical system heads, the forecast may change considerably. So right now, the thinking is about even in terms of the rain chance as we head toward Wednesday. As we head toward Thursday, though, higher rain chances. And again, depending on the exact shift of the track more to the east, that'll lessen the rain chances in Pensacola. In Jacksonville, however, more toward the east will raise those rain chances, and in fact, you'll see that. 90 degrees, the high tomorrow. So again, tomorrow, nothing doing in terms of the influence of this tropical system, but as we head toward Wednesday, late, we could see a few more clouds kind of rolling in. Again, the precursor to what we believe will be Helene. 87, the high temperature. As we head toward Thursday, though, we really do think the heavy rains will start to move in. So the temperature is going to come down as that rain chance really jacks up Down toward Tampa, again, remember that it's on the west coast of the peninsula of Florida. So with that, as our storm kind of moves up from the southeastern Gulf of Mexico, rain chances are going to hit there as well. So tomorrow, warm, dry. As we head toward Wednesday, the rain chances are going up faster because remember how far south it is of us. So with that, we're looking at 70% in terms of a rain chance on Wednesday. As we head toward Thursday, though, expect rain. And again, expect it to be heavy at times. So we are looking at plentiful amounts of rainfall. You guys know what tropical air is, and when you shake it out, it really does dump out a whole lot in the way of rainfall totals. In Orlando, slight chance on Tuesday, but again, the rain chance there as well. Even though it's a little farther inland, that will go up to 50% as we head toward Wednesday, and on Thursday, we're looking at pretty much rain heavy at times, and again, the temperature's coming down with the rain heavy at times. But of course, got to pay attention to the local forecasters in terms of getting more meaningful, more specific information about your location. Even in Miami, we're looking at rain chances to be up there 80 to 90% as we head toward Wednesday and Thursday, and the temperature isn't really going to budge a whole lot. Again, Tuesday looking pretty decent. However, the rain chance is really coming up as we head toward the middle of the week. So for tonight, across the rest of the state of Florida, we've got a lot of low 70s. Looks like Gainesville may be the coolest at 69 degrees. But then again, in South Florida, you've got those 80s. Again, you got plenty of warm water that's going to insulate things, so it kind of keeps the temperature up just a little bit. Now, in the afternoon hours of Tuesday, looking at temperatures basically from the upper 80s into the low 90s. Looks like Tampa and Tallahassee, 92. We're the hot spots. So we will be the warmest across the Sunshine State. We're living up to that reputation tomorrow. But a few clouds may start to roll in as we approach the Wednesday time limit. So things are definitely going to change, but for at least the beginning of the work week, things look pretty good. So we'll see those changes kind of come as we head toward the end of the week. Let's see, what do we have here? So we got a theme park forecast, which apparently says that tomorrow, 92 degrees. And I know that was the segment that Slowed is going to develop, and you'll be seeing that on Mondays if you watch our show. We certainly hope that you will. But we do have some things to chat about, and of course that would be our forecast as we head toward Orlando. So again, there's your theme park. So again, if Disney's on your, card in terms of what you're going to do, you've got some warm temperatures, but Thursday's probably not the best day to be outside, or certainly not at the theme park, even though temperatures may be shooting with below average numbers. So I still have the Disney planner here, and it's probably the user and nothing more than me kind of messing this up, so bear with it. We do have the future satellite and radar as we head toward Central Florida. And again, you can see that there are some clouds kind of rolling in from the southeast up toward the northwest, and even a couple of isolated showers. But that's through the day on Tuesday. So think about the fact that none of that is really going to influence us. So Sloan's going to help me out because obviously I've done something incorrect. But what we really do want to focus on, I'm going to go ahead and chat about it anyway, is what potentially is going to be Hurricane Helene. It's something that will be developing. We're watching it right now, and we're watching it pretty carefully because what we're seeing is obviously the very warm waters in both the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. And you guys have been around, and maybe you've been at the beach, and you know just how above average the Gulf of Mexico has been, kind of hovering around the 90-degree mark. So those conditions are favorable. In the southeastern Gulf of Mexico, there's that the loop current, and that is a favorable spot. It's a hot spot for tropical systems to develop. So we know that our tropical system, which is nothing yet, it's still just potential tropical cyclone number 9, should be heading that way. So the anticipation is that it will actually develop pretty quickly. So we want to make sure that you guys are aware of that. A lot of folks over the weekend, we were outside, we were enjoying our weekend, nobody blames you for it, but now all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, there's a storm and maybe a hurricane coming, and the honest answer to all that is, of course, yes. So we're watching it carefully. The hurricane hunters from the Hurricane Center sent a plane out to explore it, and the importance of that is Once they do, and we have some really accurate information, the models that do the forecast for the tracks, you guys know what I'm talking about when I talk about the spaghetti maps, the models will actually pick up the exact spot of where it's beginning, and so we will have a pretty good consensus of where we believe the storm will be heading. And unfortunately, it does look like it's going to be heading toward the northeast Gulf Coast. So, of course, that would include us, which is why we're talking about it now. So, am I good, Sloan? Are my graphics? Yes? I can go to the wall. Okay, I'm going to the wall. Who knew? So, here's what's happening at this point. We do have, again, I'm going to click it forward. Am I where I'm supposed to be? I don't know, but we do have the cameras across the southeast, and again, you can see Orlando and Charleston, Atlanta, as well as Charlotte. It really does look good across the entire southeast, but again, this is right now, this is for today. So you can see some warm temperatures all across the Gulf Coast, all throughout the entire state of Florida, even Montgomery, 93 degrees. Kind of crazy. Mississippi, Jackson at 92. The only place where we see it a little bit cooler is in Charlotte, where the temperature there is 77. So there's your little taste of some fall-like weather. But even Charleston at this point, looking at 86 degrees. So dew point temperatures, again, the indication of just how muggy the air is, not bad. Honestly, not bad for this time of year. And so we're seeing numbers that basically 2-hour north range from the mid to upper 60s. And across a good chunk of Florida, we're seeing those numbers in the low to mid 70s. So heat indices, take that dew point temperature, add it, it's really the relative humidity, but add that to the temperature, and this is what it feels like. And again, it's not a surprise when you're talking about these kinds of values in the state of Florida. Again, we've got some triple-digit heat indices across a couple of spots, especially Tallahassee and Tampa, but it doesn't feel quite that. Again, Charlotte, look at you, 79, that's your heat index. So it really does feel pleasant being outside. But even hot Atlanta, 95 is the heat index, 96 in Montgomery at this point. So we're seeing some warmer than average numbers across a good chunk of the southeast. And the wind, it may not be helping us so much, but it's a little bit stronger 2-hour west. In fact, if you look at Shreveport, they get a northwesterly wind blowing about 22 miles per hour. So that's really kicking things up. However, in Nashville, winds are calm. That's certainly not helping it to be a little more pleasant outside. Now, here's the satellite and radar. The importance of this, honestly, is something that I think will help us in terms of talking about the steering of what will be Hurricane Helene. So what you see is a pretty good deck of clouds 2-hour west, and you can see the orientation basically from northeast, around the Memphis area, dropping down through central areas of Texas, and so that tells me it's a front. Now, that front is meteorologically a trough, and it bends like this, like the thing that the pigs eat out of. So it bends like that, that's a trough, and you're going to hear a lot about troughs over the next couple of days. Now, 2-hour east is what we call a ridge. A ridge, a crest, it goes the other way. It's a bubble. So we've got the trough here digging down, we've got the ridge over here, but in between there's that flow up. That flow up is what we believe is going to take our developing system in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico and lift it our way. Hence, every indication at this point is telling us Helene is going to head toward the northeastern Gulf Coast and specifically our area. So you can't dismiss it. You have to really pay attention because of the possibility. In fact, there it is. That possibility is certainly as we head toward Thursday. So again, this is the forecast, if you will, of one of the models that shows you the cloud pattern and also the rain. Of course, you're seeing the rain, which is light when it's in the green, but where you're seeing the orange and the deeper shade of red, that's the intense thunderstorm, and certainly that would be the eye wall. And if we were to just extrapolate this a little bit more, it's kind of looking like a St. Mark's area, but everything around, it's a big system and the wind field is pretty large. So it's not like it's a point, it's not like it's a tornado, it's a hurricane, or it will be. And so when it influences our region, it's going to influence a large part of the region. And it won't be over quickly, it'll take a while, it'll require us to be a little patient as all of this kind of comes our way. But again, the timing of this, I know it says Sunday, but that should be for Thursday, and that's what we're really looking at. Now, as a result of it, we're going to see plenty of rain across the region. The only good news is it's moving. And so as it moves, it's going to move in, it's going to move through quickly. So yeah, we're going to get some tropical rain out of it, but it could be worse. Of course, the farther away from it you are, less rain you're going to get. And if anything changes, if the shift to the east happens, then you get a little bit more rain across the peninsula. To the west, the same thing would be true. But again, the thinking has been pretty consistent. It does look as though it's going to head toward the north, the northeast, because of that bend, that trough. And so that leaning is going to take it in that direction. It's the same tilt as my arm when I stretch it out, and that's going to carry it up the east coast. So there could be plenty of rain across much of the southeast. And you can look at those rainfall amounts. You know, it's not just us. You can see there's, you know, maybe 4 or 5 inches of rain across northern parts of Georgia and perhaps even into northern parts of Alabama. So across the southeast, here's your forecast for tonight. Looking at temperatures dropping into the 70s. I see a lot of mid-70s. Hot spot seems to be Miami. Why not? 81 should be their overnight low, so that's as you head to the morning hours. Then we're going to warm things up in Miami to 90 degrees tomorrow. No surprise, but it's only a small change of temperature. The rest of us in the state of Florida will be seeing the low 90s as well. Believe it or not, again, a little bit warmer to our north. Montgomery looking like they're going to be the warmest with 95 degrees. Charlotte, 86, 82 in Nashville. But the rain, I think, is really what's going to influence their temperature. So with thunderstorms a possibility, it looks like that's what's really going to cap their temperature in terms of the high. So 82 is certainly that number because of the influence of the rain. Okay, I got it. I'm getting better at this, just so you know. Here I am. Okay, so let's spend a little bit of time talking about the hurricane. Again, I've hinted at it, but we do have some information. So earlier, it was what they were calling Invest 97. It meant that, you know, we're watching it. We really believe something's going to develop. And then earlier today at 11 o'clock, the Hurricane Center said, you know what, potential tropical cyclone 9. So it does have the potential to develop, and we fully expect that. And as a result, right now the winds are weak, but there's a cone. So you guys know what a cone means, right? You get the spots or the black circles indicating estimated positions of the center at those different time frames that you see, and then the cone itself kind of flares out. So in the short range, it's kind of narrow. That suggests that, you know, there's not so much variance. In other words, in a short term, we know it's going this way, but in a long range, it's really the least accurate aspect of forecasting the tropical stuff. So it flares out a little bit more. There's a little more uncertainty with that. So if you look at it, the overall trend, we'll take it from the northwestern Caribbean, kind of lift it, and then enter the southeastern Gulf of Mexico, where it's incredibly warm. That's that it's not warm in the Caribbean. And then, of course, you can see it kind of heading toward the eastern areas of the Gulf Coast. So any change in that would change what the thinking is at this point. But right now, that's kind of what we're going with. So here's your look at the satellite. So it's not radar, it's just satellite, but what this imagery does is it kind of has a color table on it. So where you're seeing the red after, on the satellite images, kind of showing basically just how tall these clouds are. And of course, those are the ones that are really going to produce the heaviest rain. So right now, all of that's happening in the northwestern Caribbean. There have been some watches and warnings issued for parts of Cuba. As we keep watching this, keep in mind today's Monday. So tomorrow, Tuesday, is really the day where if they continuously say to us, you know, it's heading our way, you got to shore up your plans and do those kinds of things, because the body of water known as the Gulf is small compared to the Atlantic. So the amount of what we call lead time just isn't there. You know, it's going to hit land before you know it. So you guys are aware of these numbers. Hurricane goes from for the possibility of 5 different categories, 1 through 5. So what is the weakest? That's a 74 to 95 mile an hour wind. Category 2 will top out at 110 mile per hour winds. Once you hit 111 or higher, that's what we call a major or an intense hurricane. So a 3 starts at 111. The top end is 129. When it hits 130, now you've got a category 4 hurricane. Top end of that is 156. And when you hit 157 or above, we don't really have an upper limit to that. those are the most dangerous Category 5 hurricanes. So the number of the category indicates just how strong those winds are. And of course, you guys know the stronger the winds are, the potential is there for extreme damage, especially as we are looking at an area that, we've sustained a lot. It used to be that Tallahassee never had anything, but it sure does seem like everything seems to be affecting us. We did have Debbie earlier this season. We also had the tornadoes on May 10th, and now we may be looking at Hurricane Helene. So for safety, think about this. You've got tomorrow. You maybe have tonight. If you're not, doing anything and you have to head to the store, do you need some batteries? Do you need some flashlights? What kind of non-perishable food will you need to be surviving all of this? If you're going to leave, how are you getting out? What's your evacuation route? If you don't have to leave, try to leave the roadways for those that really have to. That would be folks that, live in either a mobile home or down toward the coast, who really should be the ones evacuating first. But if you're a little nervous, I also recommend that, you head to be at least with somebody. Maybe it's your family, maybe wherever your parents are. But your local authorities are going to be the ones that are going to give you the best information, because they have specific to your area what you should be doing and, the things that you should be following. I know earlier this afternoon, Governor DeSantis already declared a disaster for 40 of the 67 counties. There are sandbag locations that have already opened up in Leon County. So they're trying to do this sooner than later, because, again, we're looking at a target of Thursday. It doesn't give us a whole lot of time, so be aware of that. Check on your friends, your neighbors, make sure that they know what's going on, so that we make sure that everybody survives this with, I don't want to say relative ease, but without any extreme circumstances happening to them. So this has been your Monday FSU weather. We, of course, invite you to join us on our social media sites, where you'll also see some updates, and I think we're looking at also doing some hurricane updates as we head to the next couple of days. Have a great Monday. Be sure to stay aware of what's happening in terms of our Hurricane Helene, which we believe will be probably a hurricane by tomorrow at the very